Hello everyone, my name is Chuck and welcome back to another S.H.Figuarts review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the 1.0 Super Saiyan Vegeta, the first Vegeta that actually came out all the way back in, I think, 2010? No, 2011, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, 2011, I'm pretty sure. At least that's when it was, when the first Vegeta came out. Now, this figure is old, but at the same time, this figure is brand new, at least from the place that I bought it, which is AmiAmi. AmiAmi, my goat in terms of pre-owned items, because a lot of times Japanese people like to keep their stuff in box completely sealed, and they sell it as pre-owned. This still had the little plastics on the actual, figure. So, this is, as new as it's gonna get. Now, could I have kept it sealed? Absolutely. Would have held its value in the future? Probably not. But again, this is a very, very nice looking figure just by having it here in hand. Now, we do have the Pride or Dangerous Pride Vegeta to compare it with. Of course, this is going to be a very similar video to how we did the Games to Gain Goku with the original Super Saiyan Goku. So again, here's how they compare all together. They are all in pretty decent sizes. I do think that the Dangerous Pride Vegeta is definitely a little bit more accurate in terms of height, but even just by looking at this Super Saiyan Vegeta, it definitely has its own benefits, in my opinion. Now, the colors are very, very striking. They're a lot more saturated and also a lot darker when it comes to the battlesuit itself. I don't think I've ever seen Vegeta's battlesuit be colored this way, aside from the figures, which is not a bad thing, of course, but it is very, very dark. Let me actually get my lighting further down so you can actually see it better and not be blinded by the darkness. But yeah, the hair is a beautiful kind of golden color. It does have some orange on it, which is typical for your Super Saiyan hair. Of course, this Vegeta face is definitely outdated, but it does look really nice. Now, they did do the spikes on the hair as they actually used to do it for a lot of the 2.0 Vegetas, but nowadays they don't do that, which is really nice. But yeah, this figure actually looks pretty good. And then also, something that I had complained about the Goku is the shoulders. The shoulders having this little weird design feature where it's not feature, but the design itself where it just kind of caps down with a spike down over here. Very interesting. It's not necessarily the greatest thing, but it does work with Vegeta because it's a little bit more seamless, especially right here on this arm. It's very seamless how it looks. This one has the spike a little bit down to the side, but that's perfectly fine. And also they have kind of those butterfly caps, not butterfly joints, but the caps that a lot of other companies, more so domestic like McFarlane and also Marvel Legends nowadays, use. So there's a lot of really intricate features for this figure. Something that I pointed out last time that I reviewed a 1.0 is that they actually used drop-down hips. It's really interesting how we kind of went away from the drop-down hips. Now this one makes a lot more sense, because the crotch areas were just pure hard plastic, so it does allow them to actually function a lot better and pretty much everything else. Granted, the articulation for this figure is pretty terrible. It's not that good whatsoever. Even in the pictures that they used for this figure, he's always standing. He's not even crouched up or anything like that. It's really funny, but it still looks really good. And that's one of the things about the 1.0s. I think the paint job does make them look good even into today's standards to some extent. Not fully, but to some extent, of course. Same thing as the Super Saiyan Goku, of course. So, yeah, they both have their pluses, or this guy has its own benefits and also its pluses when it comes to just being an action figure in general. But now, when it comes to the articulation, he does have that hinge joint that allows him to look side to side, up about this far, down not so much. He does have a neck cut, but the neck doesn't necessarily move. Something that I found really interesting is that you can actually extend the joint over here by the waist. It does allow you to have some decent movement, but this is if you guys think nowadays Bandai has really bad ab crunch, just look back then. They've come a long way since this. This is Jesus. But yeah, it does rotate as well, and it does have some leeway. Again, just the joint going up and down. For the arms, they do T-pose pretty well. Exactly a T-pose. Rotation 360 degrees. Butterfly joints, he can barely get them into the final flash position. And he does have nice bicep swivel. A double jointed elbow now, which gets you about 90, which is pretty decent. And then a wrist hinge. But yeah, it's like really, really nice in terms of just, well, not necessarily nice. It is pure hard plastic. Like, even comparing them nowadays to what we have, this feels a lot harder than this. And we all know that the cap or the top part over here is pure hard plastic. The materials also feel slightly different, although they do have like kind of like their hardness to them. And of course, Vegeta has a much defined pelvis section. I also just think that the silhouette for Vegeta just fits a lot more nowadays to what we had back then. But that's not to say that these were bad figures at the time. These were actually pretty decent figures, and probably the best that you could find when it comes to Dragon Ball figures, which is really good. So he does have the drop down hips, but with the drop down hips, he gets about this far forward with the leg motion. With the drop down hips, you can actually get it further out, which is pretty nice. So again, about 90. He does have a slight thigh swivel, a double jointed knee, and a foot peg, I'm pretty sure, because that's what they used back then, that doesn't move much. You can swivel it, and you also have the toe hinge that doesn't look too good. But yeah, it's pretty good. Although he does have some lacking features, even the features that the Super Saiyan Goku had. Like, this guy actually can get his hands like closer together as well. He does have better, technically, butterfly joints. And he also has a slight better ab crunch than what this guy had, which is really interesting how even back then they couldn't get Vegeta right. And then here's the information for him. He was made in China. That's really nice. Was the original one made in China? Yeah. Seems that all of these were made in China at the time. I wonder when they started using the Vietnam factory. But yeah, this looks pretty good. Now, in terms of accessories, he actually comes with a decent amount of accessories. I would say better than Goku's. So let's take a look at those real quick. Now, the original Vegeta only came with this many accessories. Of course, nowadays we get a lot more for our money, which is really nice. But this is still a pretty decent amount. It's pretty much everything that you need with a Vegeta. And this is really interesting. I'm actually surprised that we have the straight looking forward face. But back then, they actually gave us a looking to the side face for the right, like looking to the right. And he also has those really deep green eyes. Those are like much greener than like aqua green. So he's full on green for those pupils. That's really interesting. He does have that beautiful gradient tone for the hair. And he also has that nice gradients around the skin that they don't do anymore, unfortunately. And then, of course, we have the smirking face as well. He does have the nice, beautiful gradient around the face all the way throughout, especially towards the widow's peak. It just looks so good in terms of the coloration. These are kind of like pieces of art that don't necessarily age well when it comes to their functionality, but they do age well in terms of their looks, at least in my opinion. We do have the Big Bang attack hands, which look pretty nice. The Ki Blast shooting hands. And then, of course, the Gallic Gun / Final Flash hands that you can use. So, yeah, he has a pretty decent amount of accessories. Now, going into my final thoughts, I think for the time this figure was really, really nice. And I did mention that I wasn't going to give these figures a score. I think I did. But I'm not giving them a score. It's more so to kind of remember how these figures looked for the time being and how kind of good we had it at the time too. Like nowadays, we have it much better. Granted, prices are increasing, but this figure, we have like 30 times the amount of releases this year than we did back then. Because this Vegeta, I'm pretty sure, was the only Vegeta to release in 2011, if not that alongside the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Goku, which was really insane to think about back then. But yeah, this was the fourth figure in the line, which is, again, a beautiful looking figure. I really like the deeper blues for this guy, alongside the kind of like candy cornish, but not too much, that nice bronze yellow color for the hair. I think it definitely makes it pop out a lot, especially in like the modern collections. And with the figure that we had gotten a little bit later with the 2.0 Vegeta, not necessarily the first 2.0 Vegeta, Super Saiyan Vegeta, but the second one that got kind of like the updated faces and also the more glowy golden hair, I think that one is a great successor to this figure. Granted, the Dangerous Pride Vegeta is of course the most recent Vegeta that we have, and that guy definitely is the definitive Vegeta figure all the way, in my opinion. But again, nothing compares kind of like the paint job that we had back then, of course. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about this figure. I do think that this figure kind of aged out a little bit, and it's not as good as you might have remembered because of that articulation, but it still looks phenomenal. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below about this figure. Do you guys have one of these actually? Do you have it? Do you not have it? That sort of thing, because it looks pretty good, but it doesn't have too many functions aside from that. Although, again, back then, it was really, really good. At least I think. I don't know. I didn't collect action figures until like 5 years ago at this point. Jesus. But I didn't have these figures back then. They were too expensive for me. I was poor. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. But besides that, like and subscribe and all that sort of jazz, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.